Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Di, and today I'm sharing with you my diary entry for the week of October 1st through October 7th. Today is Saturday, October 7th. So, this week was not a very good one for me. I started off this week with really bad allergies, and usually when I have these allergy attacks, like, it only lasts for a day, because it's usually my neighbors are fiddling with something in their yard. So that one day is usually really bad for me. But this week it was most of the week that I was having bad allergies, and it was just not good. And then my dad texted me last night. He said something that kind of just made my whole week get even worse. And then I woke up this morning with a massive headache. So I am filming very, very late today. It is almost 7 o'clock, and this is my fourth video of the day. So I do still have my headache, but it just took a lot for me to get here today. It took a lot. But I did read a lot this week. I read a lot. I'm going, I don't even know what term I'm looking for. Head first in the readathons that I had planned to participate in, and yeah, I think I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good so far. So let me talk to you about what I've finished, then I'll tell you what I'm in the middle of. We'll do a small knitting update, and then I'll fill you in on everything else that happened this week at the end. So in no particular order, I finished Ghouls by Victoria Laurie. This is the 5th book in the Ghost Hunter Mystery series. This is one of my favorite series. It is definitely my favorite series by Victoria Laurie. I did try her Abby Cooper Private Eye or Psychic Eye series, and I don't enjoy that one as much as I enjoy this one. But then again, I've only read 2 out of the, 20 I think there are now. It might still be in the teens, but there are definitely a lot more in that series than there are in this one. This one is technically a completed series, but I did hear from Victoria Laurie on her Facebook page that she's in the middle of writing another one of these series in this series. So I'm really looking forward to that because I really enjoy the series. This is my first reread of this series, and I am happy to report that I still enjoy it as much as I enjoyed it the first time around. That being said, this one I didn't enjoy as much as I did previously, but it was still pretty close. So in this installment, we're following MJ and her best friend Gilly. MJ is a psychic medium. They also have another person in their party named Heath, who is also psychically gifted, and they are currently filming an episode for their TV show. So they're in Ireland right now, and they are exploring this castle right here that is told to be hiding some treasure somewhere. Now, this castle also has a cautionary tale that goes with it, because there are people who have tried to obtain said treasure in the past, and they have met with some pretty unfortunate circumstances. Let's just say that. I mean, obviously MJ and Heath are psychically gifted. They deal with ghosts. A lot of times they help these creatures pass over, and if they aren't able to and it's a really evil spirit, they deal with it in other ways. And so, being that this series deals with ghosts and things like that, there is a spirit or two that are haunting said castle. So this is one of my favorite installments in the series because it happens in Ireland and it deals with a haunted castle, and I just really love that type of setting. This is the first time I've listened to it on audiobook. When I read through this series the first time, I did read through it exclusively from the paperbacks, which I borrowed from my library. So now I have all of the audiobooks, and because they're in Ireland, there are accents, and I do love to hear an Irish accent. And again, the like danger level in this one was leveled up just a little bit more, and I just really enjoyed this one. That being said, I did tell you that I didn't enjoy this as much as I had enjoyed it in the past, and that is because I detected several fat-phobic comments in regards to Gilly. Gilly is MJ's best friend, like I said. He stress eats. He stress eats throughout this series. And while they are on this particular job, like I said, you know, things are more dangerous, and it freaked Gilly out, and so he stress eats quite a bit while they're on this case. And MJ makes some snide comments to him about his weight and should you be eating that and things like that, and I didn't really appreciate that, and I didn't notice it the first time I read through this series, and so that kind of really made me had to lower my rating of this particular book, because it bothered me that she kept making comments like that to him. And there's not like one or two, I think there are at least 4 or 5 of those comments being said to Gilly about, you know, should you be eating that, you know, you gained a bit of weight and things like that. And it's just like, no, I don't need that kind of commentary to be in the things that I'm trying to enjoy reading. So I did give this one a 4.5 stars because I still really enjoyed the investigation. I enjoyed them trying to figure out what was going on with the castle, and this mystery seemed to be a little bit more involved in trying to figure out how to get to things. Also, they're dealing with the kidnapping of their producer, so there's a little bit more of an edge in regards to personal relationships. People that, you know, they work with and things, and, you know, there's also a bit of tension between them and the television company that sponsors their show. And so there's just a lot of stuff going on in here. Like I said, I really enjoyed this one outside of those fat-phobic comments, and so 4.5 stars. I still really enjoy this one. It's still one of my favorite ones in this series, and I'm looking forward to continuing. So that one wasn't for any of the readathons because I was about halfway done with that one before the month started, and so I really tried to focus after that on things for the readathons that I'm participating in. So, Ghostly Things, volumes 1, 2, and 3. This is by Ushio Shirotori, published by 7 Seas, rated teen. So this series follows our character here. She is moving into a haunted house. So she's having to move into this haunted house because her father is on a job in another continent. So she's moving all of their stuff into this house. The town knows that this house is haunted, and there is a specific reason why they are moving into this house. This house is said to have the answers to why her mother disappeared. And so this house is also inhabited by all of these creatures. Lots of spirits in this house. And so she immediately meets the like guardian of the crossroads, because the house is also a crossroads to help spirits pass over to the next plane of existence. And so she, you know, meets a lot of different spirits. She helps a lot of different spirits, and she also makes friends with a lot of the spirits that are around her area as well as within her home. And so I had read volume 1 for the Monochrome Manga Club. I would say it's a couple years ago now, and enjoyed it, but I never finished the series, and there were only 2 other volumes, so these 3 volumes complete this series. So I went ahead and reread volume 1, and then continued to volume 2 and volume 3. So I read this one for the Camp Crystal Lake Readathon to complete the prompt to read a strong female character. I consider her a strong female character because she's trying to figure out all of these things on her own. She's living on her own. She's dealing with all of these situations on her own. But she's just a high school student. And so I consider her to be a strong female character. I also am using some of the things I found in here for the Manga Freakathon. So that was great. And this was also the title that I pulled out of the Grell jar, or my daughter did, for the Spookoplathon. So I think those are the 3 readathons that this series completes. So I enjoyed this series. It wasn't as good as I was hoping, though. I do feel like this could have been a 10-volume series. There were just too many things going on, and where this story ends, it feels incomplete to me. It feels like we didn't get everything that we should have with this story. We also didn't get the answer to the biggest question: what happened to her mom? That wasn't like anywhere near a complete answer for me. And so I don't know what happened as far as, did the mangaka decide that that wasn't going to be a important issue? Did the mangaka decide that, you know, as much as they gave us was enough for us to know and that was it? Or did the mangaka not have enough volumes to tell their story? Like, did they expect to have more volumes but wasn't given as many as they thought they were going to have? I don't know, but the ending of the series was unsatisfactory for me. I still have a lot of questions. I don't feel like we got everything we should have as far as an ending goes for this series, and it was kind of a letdown. So I ended up giving volumes 1 and 2 4 stars, and I ended up giving volume 3 3 stars because I was a little bit irked. I do really love the art style. The art style is really, really nice. But yeah, I don't feel like we got all of the answers for stuff. And I feel like if we were only going to get 3 volumes, there shouldn't have been so many things going on, because there are other people that are interested in the things that are inside of her house. We get introduced to them. But it feels like even their introduction wasn't fully fleshed out. So, yeah, this series definitely feels incomplete for me, but I enjoyed what I read. So, yeah. And again, I really love the art style. But, yeah. Felt a little bit let down by that, but it did cross off some prompts for me as far as the readathons that I am participating in this month goes. So then I read In a Dark, Dark Room. So this is In a Dark, Dark Room and Other Scary Stories, retold by Alvin Schwartz and pictures by Dirk Zimmer. This is one of my favorite stories from when I was a kid. I remember this from when I was growing up. This is a level 2, grades 1 through 3, all I can read book. So this is a short story collection for kids that are in grades 1, 2, and 3. I definitely have a favorite story in here. It's the one that's called The Green Ribbon, and it's just such a nostalgic read for me. I try to read this every year. Apparently I missed reading it in 2020 when I went to go log this in. There definitely wasn't an entry there for 2020, so I don't remember if I read it and just didn't log it into Goodreads. But yeah, I try to read this at least once every year. I know last year I missed it by one day and ended up reading this in November, but definitely wanted to put this in this year. I read it for the Hallowtween readathon that's being hosted by my friends Storm Reads, Dark Roots Creations, and Soul Stained Ink, and I really enjoyed it. Now, I also read the same book, In a Dark, Dark Room and Other Scary Stories, retold by Alvin Schwartz, but that copy was illustrated by Victor Rivas. Now, this is the copy that, if you have it available on a Hoopla, this is probably the copy that you'll see. So this is the same stories that are in the previous In a Dark, Dark Room book that I just showed you. But it's illustrated by somebody else. And if you borrow it on Hoopla, there is a narration option available. So this is an I Can Read book. So when you borrow the book, it tells you this comes with audio narration. You just press the play button, and as it reads the book, it'll highlight all the little words so that your child can follow along as it reads, and it'll automatically flip the pages for you as it reads through and things like that. So that was an interesting experience. The art style is definitely different, though. You can see it just by the cover. It's an interesting art style, though. It looks kind of familiar to me, but I cannot place it. But it was definitely an interesting experience seeing these stories that I am so familiar with different illustrations. So I do like the illustrations that are provided in this edition, but I will say that I will probably never ever read this edition ever again because my edition is just so nostalgic to me. It's the edition that I grew up with, and I felt weird seeing these stories that I love so much with different pictures. So while I still enjoyed the experience of seeing the different illustrations, seeing how the illustrations were interpreted differently by somebody else, I will always revert back to the illustrations by Dirk Zimmer, because those are what I grew up with. Those are what I associate with In a Dark, Dark Room. And so, yeah, I definitely, though, recommend that if you've never read In a Dark, Dark Room, go to Hoopla and see if it's available for you, because the stories are just so fun. And if you have a child that is of the ages that are for this type of book, definitely see if they'll enjoy it too, because it's one that I immediately fell in love with when I was a kid, and it's just stuck with me throughout my adulthood. And like I said, I try to read it every year, and so it's an absolute fave. So In a Dark, Dark Room, like I said, was for Hallowtween, and I decided that it was going to be my spoopy prompt for the Spookoplathon. So that was great. I knocked two of those birds with one stone. So then the last things that I finished reading this week were volumes 1, 2, and 3 of If Witch, Then Witch by Ato Sakurai. This is published by Yen Press, rated teen, so volume 1, volume 2, and volume 3. Art style is just so cute. So this series follows, you kind of can't see it here, but you can definitely see it here. It follows a boy who had received a life-saving blood transfusion from his female friend when they were kids. They were like the best of friends, and he had had an accident, needed a blood transfusion, but he has a very rare blood type. And it just so happens that his best friend also has the same blood type as him, so she donates blood when he needs it. And so he's always kind of felt this need to repay that debt for her saving his life. So now they're teens, and for some odd reason, she just hates his guts. She has kind of been like this towards him since shortly after the blood transfusion, and he just doesn't know why. But she's kind of in a bind now. So she had recently found out that she's a witch, and she has abilities. She can use the abilities, but she doesn't know what triggers her abilities. And so our male character decides that he's going to help her figure out what she needs to do to trigger her abilities. And that ends up getting them both enrolled in this special witch academy. So he ends up having to cross-dress because it's a all girls witch academy. And so he ends up needing to cross-dress so that he can help her attain her dream of becoming a witch. And so that's what these 3 volumes encompass. Unlike Ghostly Things, I do feel like this series is complete within these 3 volumes. That being said, I did have a little bit of an issue with what happens in volume 3. As you can see here, it kind of explains my little issue with what happens. But these kids are just going to high school, and this series pretty much follows their first year in school. So there's that. There are a lot of hijinks because, of course, he's cross-dressing, so the only person that knows that he's male is his friend. And so there's a lot of them having to cover up the fact that he is male. You know, like the health checks that are being done, bath time, and things like that. But I thought that this series was really, really fun. It definitely has elements of Harry Potter in it. I could see a few things being pulled from The Worst Witch. The Worst Witch movie with Fairuza Balk. It's one of my favorite Halloween movies from when I was a kid. And I know there are books called The Worst Witch, but I haven't read them yet. But from what I could remember of the movie, I definitely saw some things in here that parallel things that happened in that movie. And you can kind of see the parallel with our female character not being able to, like, activate her witch powers or, you know, have great outcomes when she's using her powers and things like that. And so I could see the parallels with that. There's also a rival character at the school who kind of also looks and acts like the rival character in The Worst Witch. And so there are a lot of things that drew me to this story because of parallels I've seen to other series that I have enjoyed in the past. And so that was really fun. The art style is really cute. There is a little bit of a mysterious element in a couple of things. And I just really enjoyed this series. It was really cute. Besides the little thing that happens in volume 3 that I just don't quite agree with, I enjoyed it. So this was really cute. And so it helped me with 2 readathons that I'm participating in, and I gave all of these volumes 4 stars. So I used these to help me with the Manga Freakathon, so I did find a couple of things in here as well for that. And then for the Camp Crystal Lake Readathon, it's to read something with witches, so obviously we're dealing with a witch academy here, so I counted that for that. And then there's also a character that shifts to a cat. So I'm using that one for the Camp Crystal Lake Readathon to read a book with a shifter character in it. So that was great. I was able to knock that one off. So a little bit of a shift with my plans on the things that I was reading for the prompts, but it still fits, so that's great. And then for the Spookoplathon is to read something with a cat on a cover. And so there's a cat there, and there are cats on the back of this volume as well. In fact, this black cat is the cat form that one of the characters takes. And so I think that all works out in the end. So I have completed all 3 of my Spookoplathon prompts. So that was great. So now that leaves me able to pull another prompt for Spookoplathon. But really enjoyed this one. Like I said, 4 stars for each volume. And I completed another series, and it helped me out with all 3 readathons. So that's great. So that's everything that I completed reading over the last week. Now, as far as what I am currently reading, I am currently 60% done with Spells for Forgetting, which is a book by Adrian Young. This is the team book for Team Sunnydale, which is the team that I am on for the Camp Crystal Lake Readathon. So I have to read this as well as one more prompt in order to be able to start stealing prompts from other teams. So I am listening to this on audiobook right now completely. So this story follows a town named Sorsha, and many years ago there was a fire and a murder, and one of the teenagers was accused of the murder but was never proven to be guilty, and his mom moved him away from the town after that. He had been in a relationship at the time with a girl, and they kind of had a small friend group. So it was him and his girlfriend, another guy, and another girl, and the person who was murdered was the other girl in this friend group. So the beginning of the story actually starts in present day. Now they're adults, and we kind of get introduced to the previous girlfriend of the guy who was accused of being the murderer, and she's kind of living her life still on the island, and she is actually in a relationship with the other guy that was in the friend group right now. But there's kind of like a magical kind of feel to the island, and she kind of notices, you know, certain things. It's not explicitly said that she's a witch. At least I didn't catch that. I could be wrong, but she knows of witchy things. So one day she wakes up and she notices that all of the trees have turned a specific color, and there is a certain type of bird that foretells something. So something is definitely like on the horizon. And then her ex-boyfriend comes back to town because his mother has died, and he'd like to bury her where, you know, she was from. And this like throws the town into chaos, and everybody's like whispering and remembering everything that had happened, and how, you know, is he able to show his face here after what he did. But again, he wasn't ever convicted of being the murderer. So this kind of brings everybody back to that time. And now the story is kind of going back and forth between past and present, and what had happened in the past, and kind of filling us into the days leading up to the fire and the murder, and the things that kind of made him stick out as a suspect, as well as what's going on in present day, and how they're all getting along, and what they're all doing with their lives, and what they've done since that time, and how the events of the murder and the fire have affected them all these years. This is a very slow going book for me. As far as storytelling goes, this is not my favorite way to tell a story, because it's bouncing back and forth between past and present every few chapters, and I don't like that type of storytelling. It's also multiple POV, because we get story from the guy who had left and come back, his perspective. We also get POV from his ex-girlfriend, and it's a little confusing at times. I don't understand why we had to go back so far to before, like when they were just friends and all hanging out together and things like that. And yeah, I would have much preferred if, you know, we started out with present day, and, you know, he shows up on the island, it kind of wreaks havoc on everybody, and then we get a full transition back to the past, and it kind of leads us back to the present. I would have much preferred that than what's going on right now, because I feel like I'm being jumbled back and forth. It's just okay for me right now. Up until, I would say, about the 50% mark, I wasn't really interested in what was going on. Like, there was no pull. But now that we're kind of getting to the meat of why the ex-boyfriend was being accused of being the murderer, and our female character here getting more pieces of information, finding out there were pieces of information that were being hidden from her at the time and all of these years, and, you know, trying to piece together what exactly might have happened and if her ex-boyfriend is actually the person who committed the crime, because all of these years she had not thought that he was even close to being a suspect. So yeah, it's definitely getting interesting now, but I will say that I probably would have DNF'd this if I didn't have to complete it to be able to continue on with the Camp Crystal Lake Readathon, because it's not really my type of story. Yeah, there is a little bit of a magical element there, but it feels like it's more like earth magic. Not really like, you know, if witch then witch type, you know, magic. Where it's like, you know, spells and incantations and things. There seems to be like potion making, maybe. But again, you can tell like how into this book I am, because I'm not really sure about the magical elements, because for me they're not really seem to be magical elements, other than, you know, noticing that all the trees have turned a different color. There, you know, is a type of bird that's kind of an omen. It's kind of more, I don't know what to call it, but it's definitely not the type of witch book that I prefer. I much prefer something like If Witch Then Witch, you know, Harry Potter, you know, that kind of witch stuff where they're, you know, making spells, making potions, levitating things, that type of magic, as opposed to this more like kind of more realistic kind of magic, I guess. More like, you know, omens, and I guess more like what I consider the movie Practical Magic is, though even that seems to have more magic in it than what's going on in this book. This book is more of a contemporary family drama, romantic drama story with a little bit of a mysterious element in it. That's kind of more what I feel like this story is. It's definitely more contemporary. There's a lot of family drama going on. There's a lot of relationship drama. And there's just a slight touch of magic and a little bit of a mystery as far as who actually killed their friend and what happened with the fire. So, yeah, it's just okay. I don't think this book is going to get any more than a 3-star rating for me when I'm done with it, which I should be finishing up with it next week, I would think. I have no pull to like continue reading this physically, but I don't know, we'll see. If I read it physically, I'll get through it faster because obviously narration takes a lot longer than me reading it with my eyes, but I do have this audiobook turned up to 2.75% because even at 2% it was too slow. The narration seems to be really, really slow. They seem to talk really slow. I tried to turn it up to 3, but at 3 the words seemed to be coming out kind of funny and it didn't sound right. So I turned it down to 2.75 and it's much better. But yeah, it's just okay. I think this is going to end up a 3-star for me. And it definitely wouldn't have been a book that I would have picked up for myself if I didn't have to read it for this readathon. So yeah, that's the only thing that I'm in the middle of at the moment. So instead of doing the Spookoplathon roll in this video, I'm going to start my next diary entry with the next Spookoplathon roll, because I won't be able to start reading that until I do that anyway, so I feel like that should be in the next diary entry. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that for next week. And so let's get into a little bit of a mostly ghostly update. So I've got my bag here. I haven't put in a lot since I've shown it to you last. But we're just going round and round on the body. I am hoping that I will be done soon with the body, but we shall see. So, mostly ghostly. Still really loving that yoke. It comes across so nice on camera. Oh, so I am now this far down the body. I haven't measured it yet, but where is my marker? Okay, so I put in, you know, about another inch. So I was here last time. I'm here now. So I'm still not getting a lot done from update to update, but progress is progress is progress. So I have finished doing increases. So now I'm just going round and round and round until I get long enough to where I am ready to put in my ribbing. So I think I need to have 19 inches under the arm. And so I think this is less than 12. But yeah, just going round and round and round. Again, I don't know that I'll have this ready by time I am, you know, ready for the Monochrome Manga Club meeting, because that's in 2 weeks. I think even if I work hours and hours and hours on this, I still wouldn't have enough done to be able to wear it to the meeting. So I'm just going to work as I can. Try not to knit myself into pain. And then I'll finish this when I finish it. But yes, still really loving that. And it's a really relaxing knit right now because I'm not having to deal with counting for increases or anything like that anymore. I'm just going round and round and round. This is where I'm at on this skein, so I should be ready for a new one soon. It takes me about an hour right now to do 2 rows completely. So that's another issue that I'm having, is how long it takes me to do a round, just because there's so much stitches. Because I put in those A-line increases, it's like really wide right now on the bottom where I am, so that's why it's taking a little bit longer to do a round. But yeah, I'm still really enjoying how that looks. Really, really enjoying it. So I just have the rest of the body to do, and then the sleeves. I'm not sure how long I want to make the sleeves because, like I said, this time of year it's still really hot. It was 93 or something like that at noon. I didn't even look later. It's 7:30 right now and it's 80 degrees. It's still really hot this week now. Like, big difference from last week. But I'm thinking about maybe, you know, doing it about this long, about elbow length. Because I think that would be cute. No longer than just past the elbow, though, I think. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking for the arms. I might even just do like a really, really short arm and just do a couple of rows. But I haven't decided. I think a longer arm would be cuter, just because I think it would look nicer with the A-line of the sweater, but I still haven't decided on that. But anyway, that's my little knitting update. And I guess I'll let you know what happened this week here on out. So this week was really bad. I had allergies for most of the week, like I said. So like I was like congested, eyes were watering, nose was plugged up but running, and it was just really bad. I haven't had something like that happen ever. Normally if it's like that, it's only like that for 24 hours, but this week it lasted almost 4 days. It was really bad. And I don't know what caused it. I don't know if the neighbors were just working in their yard more this time around. But yeah, really, really bad. It was hot again this week. It was 97. It was estimated to be in the hundreds, but we got to the high 90s. which is still bad for me. It's not comfortable at all. And after being in the like high 50s last week when I recorded, this is just bad. And so, yeah, not really happy. It'll go back down to the mid 80s by the end of this coming week, so the week that you're watching this. But yeah, not a happy camper at the moment. And then last night my dad texted me and he was like, hey, I just wanted to let you know I'm coming up to the mainland, but I won't be able to see you again. So he flew out this morning. So he had texted me about 12:30, midnight, last night. And it's like, okay, you didn't just decide that you were coming to the mainland. Like, I know you were texting me at this time because you thought I'd be sleeping. And this is the second time you've come up and you haven't made time to see me. Like, he is staying 45 minutes away from us. 45 minutes. And he cannot make time to see us. I'm so irritated. I am so irritated. He's coming with his mother-in-law, and the last time he was here, he was with his sister, and I don't know. Like, I don't know if he's telling them that I don't have time to see him, or if he's just like telling them that he's not going to see us, but he's only 45 minutes away. I could drive there to see him, but he does not want me to do that. He's made it really clear every time that I've told him, hey, I'd be happy to drive out, and he explicitly says no. So I got really mad last night and I couldn't sleep. I didn't go to bed until about 4:30 this morning, which is probably why I woke up with a headache. That and the heat. There is nobody that makes me feel worse about myself than my own father. And it's times like this where I regret patching up that relationship with him when my daughter was born, because he's not only doing this to me, he's doing this to her. And I feel bad. I feel bad for her, but I also feel angry. I feel anger, because 45 minutes is not a long time to spend commuting if you're in the area. And it makes me think that he just would prefer that I didn't exist, type of thing. Or he doesn't want his mother-in-law to see me. I don't know. She knows I exist. I was there at their wedding. She was there at their wedding, to his current wife. Yeah. So I'm really mad. And when I'm home, he expects me to see him. He expects that I'm going to make time to see him. And it's non-negotiable. But when he comes up, he makes it so that he won't see me. He doesn't give me the opportunity to see him. And so, yeah. And, it's just that time of the year. It's the time of the year where the Christmas cards are going to start coming out, and they always send one out, and it's always him with her family, and they do not include my brother, who is still in Hawaii. So it always makes me mad. And I know the only reason why my dad told me he was coming was because I would see it on Facebook, because his wife posts everything on Facebook. And it just I don't know what to think. You know, it makes me angry, and it makes me feel like I'm not wanted, you know? So I've just kind of been in a funk. I've been in a funk since last night. I had a really bad week. I woke up with a massive headache. I still have a headache. And it is now almost 8 o'clock in the evening. So, yeah. I'm disappointed in him. I'm disappointed. I'm angry. And I don't know what to do about it. So I'm just going to try to be happy. I'm going to try to be happy. I'm going to play some video games with my daughter tonight, I think. And try to think of happier things. But I don't want to end this video with that. So I will tell you what we have been watching. Because we've finished watching a series. Or 2. We've actually finished watching 2 series. Since I didn't fill you in on the one that we had finished watching before, I actually did watch the One Piece live action show on Netflix. I have not read the One Piece manga. I've watched the One Piece anime episode 1 2 times, but never completed it. Never even went to episode 2. But yeah, we have played some of the One Piece video games. In fact, if you go to my daughter and my gaming channel, Di and Daughter Gaming, we did record recently a gameplay of One Piece Pirate Warriors 4. And so there's some of that gameplay you can watch if you're interested in. But yeah, we watched the One Piece live action TV show. I was very curious because I've been seeing a lot of people talk about it. And I figured that this would be the best time to get into something like that without a lot of experience with the One Piece manga or, you know, story in general. So I wouldn't have any type of bias, you know, about not seeing certain scenes play out or them excluding certain things or things like that. And I actually really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to the next season. Now, that has definitely piqued my interest to wanting to possibly read some of the manga, but I am in the middle of Bleach still, and I do still want to finish that before I start another long series. So that won't be happening anytime soon. But I did enjoy the One Piece live action TV show, and I'm looking forward to the next season. So the other series that we finished watching was Castle. So if you have watched some of my previous videos, we were watching episodes here and there of Castle on the TV while we were at the hotel when we went to Disney World earlier this year. My uncle had it on the TV and he was watching it, and we'd never watched Castle before. Turns out that the episodes we were watching then were from like the last or later seasons of the TV show. So a lot of it was like new to us stuff. Really enjoyed Castle. I do feel like the last episode of this series was a little bit rushed. I would have liked to see a little bit more of a check-in with, you know, the other characters that we had met throughout the TV show. But I still feel like the ending of Castle was appropriate, and it gave me enough closure. So I really enjoyed Castle. And so now we're kind of like on the hunt for another TV show to watch. Quantum Leap came back, so we're staying current with that. Magnum PI came back, so we're going to stay current with that. And it kind of gives me that little boost of home that I need because it's filmed on Oahu. And so I get to see, you know, home. And so we're doing that. And then we decide to go back to Supernatural. So we've taken a really long break from Supernatural. And I really don't know why we stopped watching Supernatural. But we were in the middle of season 7. So we recently finished season 7 and have started on season 8. And really am enjoying that TV show. So I'm looking forward to completing Supernatural. We're probably going to want to look for another like crime TV show to watch, but we haven't done that yet. We are trying out 2 new TV shows that are on Peacock, I think, right now. The Irrational, I think that's what it's called, with Jesse L. Martin. That one's about a guy who had been the victim of a church bombing, I think, and now he teaches a college course and is like a negotiator, a specialist negotiator, someone the FBI calls on for special cases, but he's not an FBI agent, and so he's kind of doing work with the FBI on the side of his professor job, and he also is trying to unravel the mystery surrounding the bombing that he was a victim of. And so that's been pretty interesting. We've watched 2 episodes so far, and we're currently enjoying that one. And then last night we started Found, which is about a woman who has started an agency where they help to find kidnapped or missing people that the media does not have spotlights on. So she started this because she was herself a victim of kidnapping, who was able to get away from her kidnapper, but was also someone that wasn't spotlighted in the news media. So it took her, being able to fight off her kidnapper and being able to escape in order for her to get home, because nobody was really looking for her. So when she grew up, she started this foundation to help people who were in a similar situation that she was in when she was younger. And first episode was really good. There is a little bit of a twist in that one, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I think if you watch the teaser trailers that are out there, you definitely know what the twist is. Pretty appropriate, I would say, but we were really enjoying the first episode, so I'm looking forward to more with that one as well. So that's everything that we've been watching, and we're really enjoying the new TV shows so far. Really enjoying revisiting Supernatural, and hopefully we'll finish out that one sometime. And we are enjoying catching up with TV shows that we were already watching last season. So everything is really, really fun and exciting as far as that goes. And so, yeah, we're going to hope that this coming week is going to be much better. At least my allergies are no longer affecting me. And temperatures will decline, so that's always good. And so I'm going to try to go into this week with more of a positive attitude and not let what happened this week get me down in the dumps. So let me know down in the comments below how you're doing with your readathons this week. Have you knocked off a lot of your prompts? Are you doing well? Let me know that you're doing well. I hope you are. And if nothing else, and you'd just like to let me know that you were here, if you could leave me a witch hat or black cat or something magical down in the comments below, that would be greatly appreciated and would really help me out. That will do it for me today. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.